Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Howie Thompson, Chief of Police here at the Greenville Police Department. Asking for this media briefing so we could talk about a couple incidents that we had here in Greenville today, tragic incidents, because we've had two people that have lost their lives. Our day started at 10:52 this morning with a call of a disturbance over by Legacy Park Drive. While dispatchers were on the phone receiving information, they heard shots fired over the telephone and started relaying that information to officers that were responding here to this location. We also then started receiving multiple 911 calls from witnesses stating that we had a gunshot victim there at Legacy Park Drive. And so officers continued to respond. The witnesses gave us very valuable information of the suspect vehicle, suspect description, and officers, as they responded to the area, were able to locate the vehicle on Verde and stop the vehicle at the fire department that is here on Verde. As the suspect pulled into the fire department, he stopped and he exited his vehicle armed with a firearm, and there was an exchange of gunfire, and the officers did return fire, and the suspect has been pronounced deceased. The victim from the first incident that I was talking about up at Legacy Park Drive, he has also been pronounced deceased. And so those are two very tragic things that have happened here. SLED is here investigating the officer-involved shooting. I had two officers involved in that incident. It was an FTO, a field training officer, with a recruit officer, and so they have been placed on administrative duty as per our normal policy and protocols. SLED will be investigating that case moving forward, and then the Greenville Police Department, our detectives, are investigating the first case, which happened over at Legacy Park Drive. And I will take your questions. And I will, please understand that, let me hit you up front. Some of the things about the officer-involved shooting I will not be able to address. That is being handled by SLED, but I will answer what I can for you.
Well, news reports, Chief Thompson, that the man who initiated the fire this morning, or the person who initiated the fire this morning, is someone who'd kind of been known to neighbors throughout that neighborhood, have been walking around. Can you elaborate a little bit on what we know about that person at this point? Yeah,
so I heard the same thing you did. I heard that this was a person that people were familiar with and might have had some previous incidents. We are looking into that. We will investigate this. You know, even though the suspect is deceased, we're going to investigate it just like a normal case to see what we can figure out about it.
Did the officers involved in the shooting, did they get hit? Or they?
No, the officers are safe. They are in good shape. They were not struck.
Can you talk a little bit more about what may have initiated this initial interaction over at the park?
Between the victim and the suspect, we are still looking into that. We know that there was an altercation because the victim was the first phone call we got. He called to report he was being harassed and there was a disturbance with the suspect. So he was actually the one on the phone when reporting the incident, reporting the disturbance, and that's when dispatchers started hearing gunshots.
Is there any word at this point what the victim was doing leading up to this?
The victim was out riding his bike. He's an avid cyclist, and so he was out on his bicycle, just running a bicycle route, touring around Greenville.
Did the suspect and the victim know each other, or was this appear to be a random attack?
We believe that they did know each other because when we received the phone call from the complainant, the victim, he named the suspect as the person that was the disturbance was with him.
And I guess how, obviously a pretty crowded area park, what was it like when you got the call? Was it a crowded area? I mean, are you thankful that, maybe it wasn't worse than it was? Obviously, any loss of life is never good news.
Well, yeah, so this is right down by a park. There was lots of families out. It is Mother's Day. People are out and about, enjoying family time. We are certainly very lucky that there wasn't more people involved, but this seemed to be a specific incident between these two individuals. There was no other people targeted around the park area.
At least by the park there, we saw a bunch of casings on the ground there. Any word as to how many shots were fired?
That is something that is investigating. I was out on scene. There were multiple shell casings fired. The detectives and forensics are working on that. Coroner's office, of course, works the cases with us. Let me thank all of our fellow law enforcement partners. They responded today and helped us here because, as you can imagine, with two crime scenes going on, you need extra manpower. So we had the sheriff's office here with us. Highway Patrol, SLED, of course, responded. Forensics, the coroner's office, and so everybody's here doing their part, and I really appreciate all of our law enforcement partners.
What about the community? Is there any danger to the community? Anything they need to be aware of?
No danger to the community. Like I said, this seemed to be an isolated incident between two individuals, and then the suspect from that scene is the one that came up and exited his vehicle armed with a firearm, when he was stopped by police officers.
Do you know, I don't know if you can release what kind of gun the suspect who was killed?
All I know is it was a pistol. It was a handgun.
And then do you have a time when the first call came in, maybe around what time this incident at the park occurred, and then what time this traffic stop?
Yes, sir. So the first call we received from the victim was at approximately 10:52. The officer stopped the vehicle, located and stopped the vehicle at 11 o'clock.
And to be clear, was the initial shooting, was that captured, at least the shooting, entirely on 911 call?
The shots being fired, yes, dispatch heard that over the telephone call.
So essentially, after that first shooting, then the suspect immediately left the scene.
Left the scene and exited that area onto Verde, where officers were responding, trying to get to the area, because like I said, the witnesses, and this is very, very important for anybody that's ever out and sees a crime, they can pass on information to us. They passed on great information: the vehicle description, the tag, the suspect description, the direction of travel, and it helps us get people to where they need to be in order to intercept the suspect and keep them from, having further victimization of people. So it was very good. I appreciate all of our people that called in and gave us every little bit of information. Helps us, and we were able to stop this suspect and keep him from doing anything else today.
And was that an indication that he was pretty well known in that neighborhood?
I don't know. I don't know that some of the calls gave his specific information, but they did give specific information about the description of the vehicle, the tag number, things like that, which is, it's very valuable to us.
The suspect was potentially known in the neighborhood. Was he known to law enforcement?
That I don't know.
Obviously, two scenes here, pretty extensive scenes. How long do you anticipate, the police department being at Legacy Park and this right here? Obviously, a big chunk of the road's closed for people who may be traveling this way or wondering what's going on.
Right. So both scenes are being worked. The one by Legacy Park Drive, it will be. They've been working on that one for already several hours. Forensics is there. We photograph the scene and document everything we can and just really do a good scene search. We're trying to get every piece of evidence we can, which is the same thing SLED is doing here behind us at the fire department. They are doing the same thing in this officer-involved shooting case. So they will be wanting to collect every piece of evidence. They will do a search warrant on the suspect's vehicle and things like that. So you could still be a couple hours out before you see everything cleared up.
You had said a field training officer and a recruit were involved. I think that kind of gives us some sense, but can you tell us a little bit more how long they've been with the force?
I cannot. I do know the officers, and but yeah, so we had the recruit officer with the FTO. I will tell you they did an excellent job. Even after being in a gunfight where their own lives could be taken, they administered first aid to the suspect after he had been shot, and we carry what's called individual first aid kits. Just recently, the past couple weeks, all the officers in the department have been going through emergency first aid training, so they immediately started applying chest seals and pulling out gauze and putting direct pressure to wounds, and really did an excellent job in trying to sustain life and save this man's life.
Was the shooting caught on video?
Well, our officers do wear body cameras, so we should have 2 body camera videos of the incident.
And obviously, since the suspect and the victim both deceased, I guess where do you guys go from here? You say that you're still going to do a thorough investigation. What are kind of the next steps, given that both the suspect and the victim at the park did lose their lives?
Well, it's going to be remember, there are 2 families that don't have family members now, and so they're going to have questions. They're going to want some answers, and so we have to take every scene is very important. Even though the suspect and victim are deceased, we have to try to figure out why this happened, and because they're going to have questions, and we want to give them answers. We want to give them closure.
Just a few more questions. We've got to get back to the law enforcement center.
Anything else you want to add, Chief?
No, not unless there's something y'all, Tiger, anybody?
How many, just the 2 officers were at the scene of the shooting?
Yes, two officers stopped the suspect vehicle. They were the only ones that were engaged with him, and then multiple officers responding to the scene and, helped us get get the suspect in custody and then start performing first aid on him.
Did they go in knowing that it obviously could be a potentially dangerous situation given what had happened 8 minutes ago? Was there a call for backup before they got out?
Yeah, so the officers did call out that they had spotted the vehicle, and so that's going to respond more officers, because we already had officers in the area, right, looking for the suspect vehicle. So that does, once you say you see the vehicle, you're getting behind it, they're coming this way to help back each other up. Even on a routine traffic stop, we back each other up, but certainly in a scene where we know that the person's armed with a firearm and has just shot somebody else, it would certainly bring all of our resources.
Chief, I think you just alluded to it a little bit too, but at this point, still really a lot of questions about what may have led up to this initial shooting in the first place.
Right, yeah, it's fresh. I know it happened basically at 11 o'clock, but it's fluid. We're still learning things. We're still digging in and trying to figure things out. And so, and SLED will too, and y'all will have questions for SLED about the officer-involved shooting, but just understand they have, protocols and procedures they have in place that they have to follow too to do a good, thorough investigation.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you.